Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Vedic Living. My name is Shri, and today I want to take you through the month of December 2023. And, if you remember when I did the September predictions, I talked about how this is a cycle that's running from the month of September all the way till the month of December, because we had so many planets retrograde in this time frame. We had Mars in very volatile situations, which has caused the wars and violence. And all of that is coming to a culmination in the month of December. This is kind of like closing out all those events. But the month of December is also very intense. So it's kind of like this big bang, right? Because Mars is still in Scorpio, and that volatile Scorpio energy is still in effect. If you remember from the video I made about Mars alone, about where Mars is going through the nakshatras in Scorpio, that's what I'm referring to, because that's still in effect through the month of December. So in addition to that, we have the nodes which have moved, and we are going to look at Mercury retrograde, which is also going into the sign of Scorpio. Everything's happening in those Gandhanta degrees of Scorpio. So this is what we are going to further look at. Now, after the general predictions for the month of December, I will be talking about the signs. So sign by sign prediction for your ascendant or your moon sign. So if you don't know what your chart looks like or what sign you need to listen to, go to my website, www.vedic-living.com, and use my free chart calculator and calculate your chart. And you can see the ascendant, which is mentioned as ASC or the Lagna, and you can see the moon position. So this way you know which sign you need to listen to. Both would work for you. You see, the ascendant is basically the events that transpire around us. That's what it shows us. The moon tells us how we feel about these events, because the moon is your emotions. So you can listen to both. But specifically, you listen to the moon predictions when you don't know the time of birth and you don't know what you know the date and the place, of course, but you don't know what time you were born. In that case, we can't really place the ascendant. So that's where you would go to the moon sign as well. So make sure you use that tool and understand where your signs are. And that'll help you at the end of this video when I talk about the sign by sign predictions. And don't forget, we are going into the year 2024, which, I hope it's very prosperous for each and every one of you. And I will be making a video on how the year 2024 is going to transpire for you, for various countries, for various world leaders, and general predictions for the entire year. So that one is still under research. I am doing a lot of research on that. So give me till the end of the month of December to bring that to you. And sign by sign predictions too for the year 2024, so you know what's coming. So now with that being said, let's go into the month of December. If you think about a concert, the month of December is the crescendo. This is basically the most impactful, the most eventful and volatile month. But the good news is we are towards the end of this cycle that started in September. I know a lot of you have been emailing me with certain issues that you're facing and such, because, when planets are retrograde and when planets like Mars and Rahu and Saturn are in these positions, in these volatile positions, and also casting aspects at each other, it can cause some problems in life. And again, I always tell you, problems are basically just opportunities to improve. And, the more we learn from this human existence, the more we evolve as souls. So this is definitely something I want to leave you with. But at the same time, let's go forward and look at the month of December. Here we are at the beginning of the month of December with, we're starting on December 1st, of course, and I have it set for the United States. And we still have this combination that's going on here. I talked about this a little bit in my last month's video, the Sun-Mars kind of conjunction. The main conjunction is over, but this, they're still traveling together till around December 16th. Now, here's what is really interesting about this. This is happening in the sign of Scorpio. point number one. Scorpio is the most intense part of the zodiac because it's the natural eighth house. So it does bring a sense of volatility because it's the deep, dark waters. The nakshatras in Scorpio are very intense. People who are Scorpio rising or Scorpio moon, you guys think about things in a very research-oriented, very intense, very metaphysical and spiritual too on the positive side. But at some times, especially when planets like Mars and the Sun, which are naturally malefics, are sitting there, it can give rise to the negative aspects or the negative meanings of the sign of Scorpio, and especially the nakshatra that's. And if you think about it, what's going to happen is as we go into the month of December, Sun and Mars come together, and you can see that it's in Scorpio. Around this 15-degree mark of Scorpio, we have a fixed star called Antares. Now, Antares is the fixed star that rules war and violence. And right across from there in Taurus at around 15 degrees is the fixed star Aldebaran, which, they kind of mirror each other, sitting right across from each other. And Aldebaran is notorious for bringing violence and war. Now, Mars is not in Aldebaran, but it is aspecting, Sun is also aspecting. So it does bring that energy, but Antares by itself is military. It's military commanders, war, violence, like high level of energy, anger, frustration, those kind of things. So with this aspect, with these two planets sitting here, the month of December is still volatile. This is why I was saying that Mars is still not out of Scorpio. We need Mars to be out of Scorpio for some semblance of peace and kind of a calm environment, okay? So this is still going on. Now, here's another thing that's also happening. While this combination is here, Mars is casting its fourth aspect on this Saturn right here. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Saturn. Saturn sitting in Shatabhishek Nakshatra, which is the 100 healers. And the thing with Saturn and Shatabhishek is that, it always kind of gives us the discipline to go towards healing and peace, and a lot of times with Saturn and Shatabhishek, it does give you the feeling that you want things to get better. You want things to improve. And it does bring about medical revolutions, new medicines, new techniques, new medical techniques do come to light because it's the 100 healers and it rules healing. Now, with Mars aspect on the Saturn, it's not great because both of these are malefics. And Mars brings violence, Saturn brings delay or obstruction to things. So this again is not a great aspect that's going on, especially going from December 1st all the way till the end of the month when finally Mars leaves the sign of Scorpio. Now, when you think about the sign of Scorpio, here's another thing about this. The new moon is going to happen here. And I'll make another video on the new moon and the full moon. But the new moon will be around 26 degrees of Scorpio. Now, what is Scorpio? It is a water sign. And Sagittarius is a fire sign. So Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer are water signs. So towards the end of a water sign, or the first few degrees of a fire sign, so I would say the last 2 to 3 degrees of a water sign and the first 2 to 3 degrees of a fire sign is a very volatile area that we call Gandhanta. And I've talked about this in past videos. This is a very unpredictable, stormy, it can cause problems, unexpected issues, because it's the waters which are out of control, okay? So what's going to happen is Mars, as it moves through Scorpio, you see in the beginning of the month, we start Mars at 11 degrees. As it moves through Scorpio, it is going to get to those Gandhanta degrees. Around the time it gets to the Gandhanta degree, it will be the new moon time. So around the new moon time, which is going to be, let me just put that there. Around December 12th. So now December 12th is the new moon. You can see the sun and the moon are coming together. I don't have it exact because the time is not exact, but that's basically the day when the new moon is happening. And then right after that, around December 26th, is the full moon. You can see the sun and moon are again opposing each other here. So the new moon is when the sun and moon come together. The full moon is when sun and moon are opposing each other. So, this 2 weeks are going to be the most intense. So between December 12th and December 26th. Now, let me explain why. Because the new moon starts off right here, December 12th, and it's in the nakshatra Jyeshta, and it is conjunct Mars, which is in Antares. So you see, we are blending all this information together. We're not looking at just one thing. So not only is there a new moon in Jyeshta nakshatra, Mars is sitting with it, and it's in the fixed star Antares, which, like I said, rules violence. So December 12th is, when this new moon happens, of course, the new moon is the beginning of something which culminates in the full moon, right? Now, the full moon is going to be 2 weeks later when the moon is in Ardra nakshatra. And even though Mars is not with the full moon, it is in a Gandhanta degree. Remember, the last degree of Scorpio is Gandhanta, 29 degrees of Scorpio. So again, it's showing uncontrolled actions and rage, because see, Jyeshta nakshatra, if you think back to the mythology, it's the oldest daughter of Daksha Prajapati, and she was jealous. She was jealous of Rohini. So Jyeshta nakshatra is associated with retaliation, revenge, jealousy. And people who have planets or ascendant in Jyeshta nakshatra, they will always find that because they are so talented, because remember, I told you, Jyeshta is the nakshatra that is associated with manifestation. So people with Jyeshta nakshatra, they manifest a lot of good things in their lives because it's a very strong nakshatra. But problem with that is that they're surrounded by people who are jealous, and there can be problems because of that. So this is a very volatile degree. The last degrees of Scorpio, it's Gandhanta. It's the nakshatra Jyeshta. And here's another little fact. The Scorpio, the symbology of the sign Scorpio, this last degrees of Scorpio is the tail, the sting of the Scorpio. So remember, the whole idea of Scorpio as a sign in zodiac sign is that the tail, it signifies revenge, right? It comes out of the back and stings you while the Scorpio is looking at you. So it is actually this kind of, it comes from nowhere, right? And people are not aware that this hit is going to come. So this, again, in matters of world predictions, this can show a struggle for power. It can show violence. It can show revenge, taking revenge, getting back at somebody, fear, and retaliation. So December 12th till the 26th, starting from the new moon, going to the full moon. This is going to be a kind of a trend around the world. And as you can see, moon on the 26th is in Ardra nakshatra. And this is, the symbology is the teardrop. So whatever is happening in these 2 weeks is causing sadness, right? The symbology of Ardra is that people are mourning things. They're sad about things. So that's definitely something to be remembered. Now, also, when I talk about these last few degrees of Scorpio being the sting of the Scorpio, it does also rule poison, because that's what the Scorpio sting is. It's poisonous. So air, it could be that the air is unsafe, water, there can be war weapons that are like poison related, or there can be world leaders or rulers who have, or celebrities who go through poisoning, or, medicines or drugs in their system that causes problems, those kind of things, because it does bring that, you're consuming something which is not good for you kind of situation with air, water, or food. So this is another time that I always see, although I don't think it's going to happen this time because Neptune, which rules oil, is not aspecting anything. But usually with the Scorpion sting, I see things like oil spills and those kind of things which can contaminate the water. But I don't think that's going to happen this time. I'm just giving an example, because for that to happen, you need Neptune, which rules oil, to be in the equation. Now, with these 2 weeks, when we talk about it, we also want to remember that after the month of December, so after the 26th of December, a couple of things that are happening. Around the end of December, notice how Jupiter is finally going direct. This is a big deal. This has been retrograde since September. And Jupiter going direct is very important for the world at this time because it allows things to move forward. When a planet is retrograde, we feel like it's 1 step forwards and 3 steps backwards, right? You always feel like things are holding you back. You're not able to move forward. And it is for good reason, because a retrograde planet wants you to review, reassess, and close things that you already have, as opposed to starting new things. But, when Jupiter goes direct, it's going to bring about an ability to start new projects. Things are going to start moving forward, not only in personal lives, but also around the world, right? Even in matters of war or conflict in various places, the direct Jupiter can bring a sense of, let's come to the table to talk, let's resolve this kind of feeling. This is why towards the end of the year and then going into January, notice this Mercury retrograde right here. Mercury goes direct. So you have Jupiter going direct, Mercury going direct. This is good news. This is the reason why I was saying going into January, going into 2024, things are going to be much more peaceful than what we have seen since September of this year. So it's culminating a lot of things, and Mars has left Scorpio, as you can see. So it's giving us a good news after the end of the year. Now, going back to, let's go back to the 1st of December, because I want to take you through some of these aspects a little more in detail. So as I said, we have Mars and Scorpio, and the next thing is the nodes. Now, a lot of you send me emails asking about the nodes. Some people are saying the nodes Rahu moved from Aries to Pisces, and Ketu moved from Libra to Virgo in October. Others are saying it's moving on November 28th. What's the right thing? That's the difference between the true node and the mean node. We use the true node, or at least I do, because that's what I was taught. And I think it really does work. And November 28th is when officially the true node moves in the sky into Pisces and Virgo. So, when I made my predictions on the nodes, sign by sign predictions, that's what you need to listen to, my last video, to understand how the next 18 months are going to be for you. Now, also remember the nodes are in a particular point every 19 to 20 years. So if you want to kind of understand how this is going to be for you, you can go back to the year 2005 to 2006, and that will give you a good understanding as to what the nodes being in Pisces and Virgo would mean for you. May not be exact, but at a high level, it will give you a fair understanding, because the other planets are different at this time. So it may not be an exact assessment, but it'll give you a high level idea, because the nodes will be in these signs for the next 18 months. So that's another big one, okay? Now, when we talk about the Mars going into Gandhanta degrees between December 12th and the end of December, which is the time I said is going to be very volatile in the world. Another planet that's also Gandhanta is Rahu. It's at 29 degrees of Pisces, and Pisces is a water sign. So that's also telling us, anything that has to do with water, like floods or storms or causing damage to people and, to property, it can be very prominent. Weather changes, earthquakes, those kind of things, especially when these two planets are retrograde. Sorry, they're not retrograde, they're Gandhanta. It's very important to remember that these kind of Gandhanta kind of events can happen, but those are physical disturbances, right, in weather, climate, and earth changes. Also on the emotional side, you will notice in your life, things can be a little out of control. You feel like one day things are great, the next day things are, unexpected, like things happen which were which you didn't see coming. Those kind of events can happen, especially when planets are in Gandhanta. And now we have 2 of them in the month of December, which is going to be Mars and Rahu. And in fact, even Mercury, towards the end of December, Mercury will also be Gandhanta because it will be going retrograde on December 13th, I believe. And then you notice it's going to be, so let's go to the end of the year. Right there. You notice how Mercury is in the first few degrees of Sagittarius around Christmas, and then it goes back 29 degrees of Scorpio, that treacherous degree that I was talking about. This is going to be, again, Gandhanta. So you have, all these planets are going into a Gandhanta position, which is going to be a problem because you see Mars is still Gandhanta. First few degrees of a fire sign is considered Gandhanta. So if I mark that, Mercury is Gandhanta, last degrees of a water sign. And then you have Rahu, which is still around 27 degrees. It's still considered Gandhanta because remember, it's around 2 to 3 degrees. So it's there. It's still Gandhanta. So this is, again, telling us, 3 planets, Gandhanta is telling us that out of control feeling, that things are, not getting better. And again, I feel like it's coming to a climax at the end of the month. But after December 31st is where we start seeing some improvements, or at least the semblance of healing will start. At least people will want to come to the table to discuss things. It's because otherwise, if these planets are retrograde, there's events happening where people are acting out of anger or frustration or fear. There's no talk about resolving things. But when they go direct, right there, Jupiter is direct, and then Mercury goes direct in the beginning of the year, around the 2nd of January, this is a good news. This means that, now there's hope for peace. In fact, going into January, it's kind of like the opposite of the month of September and October, because notice how all the planets are direct except Uranus, which, at all times is going to be at least one planet retrograde. It's rare to have all of them direct. But this is good. Planets being direct means that things are moving forward. We feel like life's moving forward. Projects which were stalled are starting back up again. People who are fighting around the world are coming to the table for compromise or discussions. There's a semblance of peace. Venus and Mercury being together, peace can be, it can be a consideration at this point. So this is a good thing. Now I'm going to talk about that's what I mainly wanted to talk about, the month of December. Mercury retrograde is going to be December 13th till January 1st. So remember that when you make your plans for travels, again, it doesn't mean that nobody travels during a Mercury retrograde. But if Mercury is very strongly positioned in your chart, in the house that deals with travel, or if it is your ascendant ruler or something like that, then yes, you should pay attention to the Mercury retrograde when you make travel plans. I have to say, though, with the aspect of Jupiter, if you see a few days before that, you can see when Mercury is in around mid-December, so around the 20th of December, when Mercury is here in Sagittarius, 15th of December to the 20th of December, Jupiter is aspecting this Mercury, and Jupiter is aspecting the Venus. This is a very amicable time. It's a good time because these are good planets. They are benefics. And Venus is in Libra and it's sign of rulership. So it's happy there. This is a time for celebration and fun. And of course, this goes on from December 15th till about the 20th of December. So we do have some good transits happening at the time, which can mean that even though there are problems happening around the world, people are still like, in your personal life, you're traveling. What is Mercury? It rules travel. Jupiter is aspecting it. What is Venus? It rules fun and festivities and celebrations. Jupiter is aspecting it. So, of course, and that is Christmas time. So there is, people are coming together as families to get together and kind of enjoy each other. So this is still a good time. But in the world, and especially if you have planets in the last few degrees of Scorpio, Even if you're trying to travel, there can be problems like delays in flights or cancellation in flights, triggering that Mars, causing anger and frustration. So you have to remember, you have to blend these meanings, okay? And a lot also depends on the sign that your ascendant or your moon is placed in. So we have to look at that too, which we are going to do next. To the sign by sign predictions, if you are an Aries ascendant or Aries moon, and remember I'm talking about the sidereal degrees, not the tropical degrees. So go to my website and use the chart calculator to see which degrees your planets are placed in. So if your ascendant or your moon is in Aries, then this is a month of profound introspection for you. The reason for that is the whole energy in Scorpio, all of those planets being in Scorpio, the new moon and everything. It's your 8th house. 8th house is the house of transformative power. And it's the house where you realize things from the past. You have deep realizations and understanding of things, and your mind can be in a constant research mode. And with the nodes being in the 6th and 12th, as I said earlier, this is a time where things are ending. You have endings of old things. You have to let go of the past, which has been troubling you, and there are going to be new beginnings. So, this is the time when those 8th and 12th house energies are activated for you. You're going to be very psychic, very intuitive, and you will have an understanding about things that happened in the past, or at least you will try to research and delve into it. Like, why did this happen with me? How can I make it better in future? And that's where the transformation comes from that research of your past. And in the end, you will let things go and you will go to healing. Now, 12th house is foreign places and foreign lands. So you could be having an opportunity to travel in the next 18 months to foreign places because Rahu is sitting there. Ketu being in the 6th house means that you are really looking at your health under a microscope, right? You're trying to fix things in your diet, your nutrition, your digestion. That's all the 6th house. So you're looking at how to make things better. And Ketu in the 6th house will constantly remind you to do that because you could fall sick otherwise. So please make sure that you take care of yourself in this time frame. And another thing is that 8th house energy, with Scorpio being your 8th house, it can mean that your spouse's family is coming into the frame a little bit, maybe with some problems because Mars and Sun are sitting there. So there can be some interference or something that is causing you aggravation coming from that side of the family. And also 8th house does rule money that comes to you. So because you have Malefic sitting there in the month of December, this is not a great time to invest, right? Because this is talking about money that's coming to you that you have not earned. So it's not a great time to invest for Aries ascendants in the month of December. And another thing also is, with the 12th house energy of Rahu, expect a lot of changes to happen. This is a time of change in your life. And being an Aries ascendant, you are already kind of this person who wants to make things like new beginnings. You're very impulsive at times. So maybe this change is welcome. But at the same time, 8th and 12th house does bring about a lot of tumultuousness to your life. So just keep that in mind. Be calm and self-assured during this time because the beginning of the year, these energies will shift for you. Now, if your ascendant or your moon is in Taurus, then that means the month of December is going to be about relationship growth. So you may see that you don't agree with your spouse or you argue with your spouse at times because all that energy in Scorpio is your 7th house. And there can be realizations as to how you want to, kind of deal with each other. You grow out of these experiences. And if you've had problems in the past in your relationships, this can be a time when things become really intense. And this energy, like I said, will subside towards the end of the month of December. So even though it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, I want to assure you that you are going to see these things improve going into the beginning of the year. But at the same time, use this opportunity to grow through these learnings that you're understanding from your relationship partner. We are in relationships because we learn a lot from each other. We chose this person before we came into this lifetime. So use this time for soul growth, for spiritual growth. Or, this could also be a time where you decide that you want to focus on yourself. Because with the energies going on in Scorpio, you are really thinking, you know what? I want to really focus on myself. I want to make sure that I'm doing good and healthy so that I can deal with this better. Now, the nodes are in your 5th and 11th house. So, again, children are the focus at this time. You're feeling closer to them, but at the same time, you feel worried and anxious about them with Ketu being there. So you want to spend more time with them. You want to help them out, or they need your attention in some way. Rahu in the 11th house means you're meeting a lot of influential people during this time, especially the next 18 months. And also specifically in the month of December. It could mean that you're meeting new people, joining new organizations, and your existing friendships you may analyze. You may realize that some of your existing friendships are not going to work for you. You may let those go. Now, if you are a Gemini ascendant or Gemini moon, then that means this month is going to be a real big focus on your health. Watch your immunity, make sure that you are taking your vitamins, you're making sure you're healthy, because there is that Mars-Sun combination in your 6th house. And this is a time when your attention is needed towards your own personal safety and your health. With that Mars-Sun combination in your 6th house, you can sometimes be a little impulsive. And also it rules machinery and cars and driving. So be careful when you're driving. This is a really accident-prone kind of time frame and remember, these things really have to do with your psychology too. And that's why I tell you these things, because you can avoid this. The reason why you're accident-prone is because you are impulsive. You're not thinking. You're actually just doing things before analyzing and thinking if it's the right thing for you. So, now that you know astrology and you're able to realize that the month of December has this energy, you can be extra careful and avoid these things. Now, the nodes are in your 4th and 10th axis, which can mean that you are not that satisfied with your home. You want to renovate things. You want to change things. You want to probably think about a move. And your career is picking up really well. This is with Rahu in the 10th house. You're expanding your business. It's all magnifying that energy. And also remember, one of the things with this nodal placement is that the Rahu in the 10th can cause more ambition. So you may think about doing more with your career. You're not happy with the status quo. And you're like, you know what, I want to do more with my business. I want to add this other aspect to it. Or I want to apply for this job, which is really much better than what I have now. So that's going to be the energy for the next 18 months. Again, like I said, think back to 2005 and 2006. It'll give you a good idea as to what's coming in the coming 18 months. But specifically the month of December, it's for you to really focus on your health and co-workers, employees. This is a time when you may see some difficult relationships with people at work. You may have trusted somebody and they probably let you down, or there may be a co-worker that was working with you on something and you guys didn't get along. There could be some arguments there. So, just remember to keep that Mars energy under control a little bit, because towards the end of the month, this energy goes away, but you can't take back what you said. So, you can really control that energy during this time and route it to more positive activities, route it towards, your health and taking care of yourself and your stress levels, route it towards understanding what kind of job you want to be in once this transit is over, because it's going to bring a lot of opportunities for you with Rahu in the 10th house. So that's where you should route that energy for more positive kind of results. Now, if you're a Cancer ascendant or Cancer moon, then that means that the Scorpio combinations that are happening in December, which are very volatile, is in your 5th house, which means that your children could be acting out a little bit. They may be looking for your attention. You may have to really focus on them and make sure that you spend time with them and see what they need. And another thing also is the 5th house is your creative potential. You feel very creative in this time frame. You want to build new things. You want to create new things. You're thinking about opening a new business or, starting a new course or learning something new. This is all about creativity in the sign of Scorpio. And, because your nodes are in the 3-9 axis, it supports it, because the 3rd and 9th house has to do with learning and traveling and teaching. So you're really looking to expand your horizons during this time. Now, one thing to just remember is your relationship with siblings at this time, because in the next year or so, you can see that there are some problems with one of your siblings is having some problems in their personal life, or this could affect your relationship with your sibling. So this is definitely something to watch with that Ketu in the 3rd house for you. With Rahu in the 9th house, it's your father who may need some attention during this time. So, if he's still around, make sure you make time to spend with him. Now, if he's not around, the Rahu in the 9th house can mean that it brings back thoughts or memories of him during this time. Something from the past can come into the present for resolution and healing. So that's definitely something that could happen in this time frame. Now, if you're a Leo ascendant or Leo moon, then this is a time where your 4th house is really activated with some malefic energy. So which means that, you could be really looking at changing your home or renovating it on the physical side. On the other side, this can affect your mother. So if your mother's still around, she may need some help or she may need some attention, or there's something going on in her life that you may need to help her with. Now, another thing also is if your mother's not around, it can bring back things from the past that was pertaining to her. Now, the 4th house is also your family. So this can bring a reassessment of what you want through your family and how you want to help them more, or that you want to spend more time with them. And with the nodes being in the 2-8 axis, it's about money and finances. So you're really thinking about supporting your family in a better way. The Ketu in the 2nd house can bring some expenses, maybe to renovate your home or to change things or to repair things. This is a time to make sure your insurance is doing good in terms of your home insurance and your car insurance, because there can be some unexpected repairs during the month of December because of the energies in the 4th house. Now, there can be some travel associated in the coming year or so because of the nodes, Rahu being in the 9th house. You may be asked to travel for work, or it could be pleasure. You may be looking at making some trips in this year. Now, if you're a Virgo ascendant or Virgo moon, then that means that the 3rd house is activated. So, again, siblings come into the picture here because 3rd house is usually siblings. One of them may be having some problems in their life in the month of December, or you may have some difficult experiences through one of those siblings in the month of December. You may not get along well with them, or you may say something, or they may say something that hurts each other's feelings, those kind of things, because Mars can be very impulsive, like I said. But that's, again, this energy is only in the month of December. If you think about the nodes for the next 18 months, the nodes are in the 1-7 axis. So this is all about relationships. Your partner may be needing some more attention, or they may be asking for more during this time. Ketu being in your ascendant, you're more giving to the other person. But this is a time where the nodes will karmically try to teach you that you have to take care of yourself too. Because you're such a giving person mostly, and the nodes are coming there to remind you that you need to give some attention to yourself and who you are. And of course, take care of others too, but make yourself a priority too, And another thing also is that 3rd house rules travels, short distance travel. So driving and cars and those kind of things, just be careful during this time with that Mars-Sun combination in the 3rd house. You can have some breakdowns, or there can be some repairs for your car, or If you're traveling, there can be delays to flights or cancellation of flights. So this is, if you're planning to travel in the month of December and you're a Virgo ascendant or Virgo moon, make sure you look for the good days, okay, where the moon is in a good placement, or it's with Venus or something like that, where it's strengthened. So you can kind of negate the difficulties of that Mars Sun in the third house from your ascendant. Now, if you're a Libra ascendant or a Libra moon, then the second house is activated. So, just watch in the month of December, the second house is your speech. It's what you say. Mars can make you very impulsive. You may be angry and frustrated at somebody, and you may just lash out sometimes. But remember, like I said earlier, after the end of the month, this transit is over, but you can't really take back what you said. So this is a time to find a little bit of self-control when it comes to that. And being in the second house, there can be some unexpected expenses in the month of December, which you didn't see coming. And also, this is to do with your family. So, you may be spending more time with them, or there may be more attention needed from your family. Be careful of impulsive spending, though, because the second house is your money that you spend, right? It's expenditure. Second and the 12th house, in fact, and you have Ketu in the 12th house and the Mars-Sun combination in the second house. So you're activating both the houses. So impulsive spending can be very possible in the month of December. And it's a time to just remember that, you may make those purchases which you're trying to go back and return because you realize you didn't need it after the end of the month. So just be careful of those impulsive purchases. And there can be, the 6th and 12th house is activated by the nodes. So health is very important. You will be looking to focus on that in terms of what you eat, your exercise, your daily routine, because it's trying to make you stronger, right? You're busy with a lot of things because Rahu is in the 6th house. You're really busy with work. You're really consumed by it. But that also brings stress. And Ketu is sitting in the 12th house. So all these things are acting with each other. So those stress levels can cause health issues. So this is why you need to find that restraint and take care of yourself during this time. Take care of your stress levels and your health also. Ketu in the 12th can bring really vivid dreams. You can be almost, you can have premonitions almost through your dreams. It can be a very psychic and intuitive time for you. And Ketu actually does do well in the 12th house. So this is a time where you will feel things before they happen. So use that intuition, especially remember I was talking about the new moon in December. This is a time to manifest things. It's happening in Jyeshta Nakshatra. Manifest things with the Ketu in the 12th house. You're very strong for that this month. If your ascendant or your moon is in Scorpio, then the Mars-Sun combination is in your first house. So there's nothing more impulsive than that. You can feel very impulsive, very driven and ambitious and passionate about things. But you kind of have to remember to look before you leap, because there's high level of energy and restlessness. Remember to channel that towards positive things, because that's going to be a challenge this month, because that energy, that restlessness can also take you down a negative path. So you have to constantly remind yourself that I need to do good things and make it positive with this energy. Now, be careful about jealousy around you, because that Jyeshta Nakshatra is getting really activated. People could be jealous of you. There could be enemies. And because you have Ketu in the 11th house, this can mean that friendships are being reevaluated. You may be realizing that some friends don't have your best interests in their mind, and you may be looking to make new friendships. 5th house has Rahu, which means children require attention at this time, and you're spending more time with them, And also, you're highly creative at this time. Rahu in the 5th house is high levels of creative energy. You're wanting to create new things, build new things. And if you invest in stocks, this is a good time to invest in stocks. Now, if your ascendant or your moon is in Sagittarius, then the 12th house is getting activated, which means that there could be people around you which are enemies. 12th house is hidden enemies. And there can be some jealousy. People may not have your best interest in their mind. So, and things from the past, people from the past who you have unresolved situations or problems with, that's going to come out in the month of December, and you will have to resolve it and heal it. Life will give you an opportunity to do that. Now, with this energy in the 12th house, just remember when it comes to your health, you have to watch your health, because 12th house rules hospitals, and watch your immunity levels. And another thing also is, remember to let go, because Mars Sun in the 12th house transiting can kind of make you obsessed about things where you feel like, oh, I just have to do this. You don't. If it is causing problems to your health or bringing stress levels up, then you have to learn to let go, to heal yourself. So this is a time when that will be tested in the month of December. Now, the nodes are in the 4-10 axis, which again brings to the forefront the thought about moving or changing your home or renovating or traveling, and also your work. You're not happy with where you are. You want to figure out new things. You want to look for a new job. Those kind of changes can happen. And the nodes, they're there for 18 months. So this is for the whole year and a half that's coming up. But again, if you want to kind of see what could happen, you can go back to the year 2005, 2006, and that should give you a good idea of what to expect. Now, if you're a Capricorn ascendant or Capricorn moon, then remember your 11th house is activated at this time. So watch your friendships. There can be a couple of friends who are causing some problems. There can be problems in, you may realize that you can kind of get along with a couple of your friends. There may be arguments there. You may say something that you regret. So just watch that, because it's in the 11th house. And also your older siblings. This is a time when either one of your older siblings is having some problems in their life, or you are having problems with something that they're doing. There can be something you don't understand or get along with them. So there can be arguments there. So that's definitely something to remember. And the nodes being in the 3rd and the 9th axis, this is a time where your father might need help. Or if your father's not around anymore, it can bring things from the past, memories from the past that pertain to him into your mind for healing and resolving. And you will be looking at learning new things in the coming year, because the 3rd house, and also traveling. A lot of travels can happen with Rahu in the 3rd house. So that's definitely going to bring you growth and expansion in this coming year. Now, if you're an Aquarius ascendant or Aquarius moon, then that means your 10th house has to be watched this particular month of December. That means if you're having meetings with your superiors at work, or your boss, or you're discussing something with them, just remember to keep that Mars energy a little under control, because you can be a little impulsive in the way you speak. There can be arguments there. And it can cause problems in future, because like I said, you can't take that back. This energy is going to die down by the beginning of the year. So, you will be able to do what you want to do at that time. So if there's any way you can push out those meetings, that's great. 10th house being your career, you may see that, you don't get along well with your coworkers during this time. This may be a time to take some time off from work too, because, those energies are really heightened in the 10th house. But on the good side, Mars in the 10th house can make you very ambitious. So you may be looking at better opportunities or wanting to get to a better job or something like that. Now, and that is also strengthened by the fact that Rahu is in the 2nd house and Ketu is in the 8th house. So financially, you're looking to grow yourself. You want to get to a better job which pays you more, or you want to expand your business for better income, or you want to add another revenue stream, or create another branch to your business. And this is all about expansion. Rahu brings growth. So this kind of ties in with the Mars-Sun combination in the 10th house. So just watch those that impulsive speech a little bit, and you should be good after that. Now, if you're a Pisces ascendant or a Pisces moon, then that means that there can be some arguments with your father or fatherly figure at this time. Or if your father's not around, it can mean that things from the past that pertain to him can come about that can cause some frustration. Now, this is a time where you may be a little frustrated with your studies or your learning. You're deciding that you want to do something completely different. You may start learning something new. Rahu on the first house wants to expand you, wants to make things better for you, and you're looking at growth and opportunities at this time. And Ketu in the seventh house means that there could be some learnings through relationships in the next 18 months. Again, 2005 to 2006 would be a good kind of time to go back and see what happened, because that's the same placement the nodes are in right now. But the ninth house having malefics in it can mean that this is not a great time for speculation. So if you invest and, do stocks and shares and those kind of things, this is a month to kind of stay away from that in the month of December, because you have malefics in the house of luck and fortune. So wait till the end of the month, early January, to kind of go back into it. But the month of December is a time to kind of take a step back from that. So with that being said, those are the predictions for the month of December for each sign, and also the general predictions. I will see you soon with the new moon and the full moon videos, and also we'll go back to our Nakshatra series. And then don't forget, I'm going to do a full-length video on the coming year of 2024 and sign-by-sign predictions as to what that means for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.